Hi there. Do you enjoy having a beautiful home base in your world? Do you enjoy having an area to store your items? Or maybe even an area that you go to get stronger gear? Well, if you answered yes, good. I'm about to show you how to build a house that ticks those boxes. As long as you follow the general principles I lay out in this video, you'll also be able to build a house that looks different each time and looks really cool too. These are the materials you'll need for this house. Feel free to pause the video or to take a screenshot. Before we start building, we need to prepare an area for the house. There are many flat pieces of land in this world which I could have used, but I wanted an area with slightly more elevation. This is a personal preference of mine, but it's important to keep in mind what you want in your world. Try to picture the final build and how it will look on your landscape. Here's the ground layout of the house. It's surprisingly simple, it really doesn't need to be complicated. With the ground layout in place, the first step I always like tackling is building the foundation. In this case, I used stone blocks to indicate the walls and spruce planks for the floor. It makes the next step a lot easier, which is building the first level's wall. The wall is a total of 6 blocks high and makes use of honestly quite a messy configuration of blocks. I did this by placing stone, andesite and stone brick at random until I hit the 6 block height. But before we get carried away with the rest of the build, there are a few things we need to handle quick to stay organized. The first thing being a portal that's got a size of 5 by 6 blocks in this front section. I built it 1 block into the wall with a solid glowstone background behind it. I included a few spruce fence gates, stone stairs and leaves to add a little bit of detail. The second thing we need to tackle quick are the 2 entrances in front here. They look nice but are surprisingly simple. All you do is break a 3 by 3 block hole in the wall and cover behind it with spruce trapdoors and a spruce door. This will allow you to add spruce stairs for an arch. If you enjoy symmetry, you can repeat this on both sides. The next thing we need to handle is an optional detail which I feel adds a lot of the final build's aesthetic. It's a small canopy made from wool, barrels and fences which is used to store a few hay bales. If you've got a horse, you may want to keep it here with a lead. Keep in mind you can repeat this detail on both sides too. Furthermore, you can add more details around the house if you'd like. I was happy with just stacking barrels around this lower wall to make it a bit less bland. However, a cozy campfire site or horse stable could look really cool too. In order to move on to the next major part of the build, we'll need to cover the top here with spruce planks. We've got a huge amount of space in the bottom here to work with, which is great. It means we can make this area really useful and incredibly immersive. The first part of this will be to build the villager stations. The design is incredibly simple and is repeated on all the sections that feel natural for it. In other words, on the left, middle and right walls. Sprinkling in a few oak logs between the stripped spruce logs is a great way to add subtle detail. Just like building a ceiling, I've realized that I don't always notice the ceilings in houses. However, whenever there's a bit more effort put into it, it adds so much to the build because your peripheral vision always picks it up. It gives you one of those moments when you're inside and something feels cozy, but you can't always put your finger on why. By the way, adding a few stairs and trapdoors can be a nice way to transition between the walls and roof. This way you don't end up with this harsh connection between them. The next detail we can build here is a desk. Let's be honest, it doesn't add any use to the build whatsoever, but it does make it feel like somebody lives here, and that's nice. while opposite to that, we have an opportunity to add some use. We can include a few utility blocks you'd need at random times. This would just make the house a lot more convenient to use. Since we just tackled something for the sake of convenience, how about we work on a very crucial part of this floor, a way to get up to the next level. This shelf-like detail against the wall is really nice and serves multiple purposes. We could climb up the scaffolding in the middle to go up a level and include a few armor displays on the sides. All that's left is to add a few odd details to make the space feel more immersive. Things like stairs and stripped logs for texture on the floor, while mixing in moss blocks for pops of color and spore blossoms for particles can make the space feel more lively. Okay, we've just finished the first level. It's been textured, we've added a few details and put quite a bit of effort into the interior. Let's get to work on the second level. We need to start by building this wall, right on top of the other one, 6 blocks high. I'm using granite, which I'll be texturing with bricks. The red color makes the build feel a bit more warm, which is nice. Alternatively, you could use diorite, calcite and white wool for a white color. As you can see, these two levels end abruptly against one another. We can use spruce stairs, slabs and trapdoors to create a nice transition in between them. However, this technique serves two purposes. It also gives us a platform to build wooden frames on top of. This means there will be an allowance for more depth in the build, as well as a whole bunch of wooden details contributing to that cozy feel. Generally, I like a column on top of an upside down stair to make it look more supported. I've also opted to use barrels at the bottom of each column, along with sprinkling in a few oak logs to add more texture. Let me just add, however big you want these frames to be is entirely up to you. I decided to divide each section in half. This way I had smaller blocks which are generally a bit easier to detail. Okay, the detailing for this came out looking pretty nice while being surprisingly simple. In general, I like to use stairs and trapdoors to make arches. Then I'll include the occasional window. Now if you use a window, you should consider making a bit of a shelf on the outside of it. These can be upside down stairs which are great for lanterns or flower pots to add extra detail. Furthermore, I'd recommend adding trapdoors next to the windows, as these can look like window shutters which can open and close. And basically on all the places I didn't include windows, I just opted for leaves which I covered with railings of spruce signs. They add a pop of color to the build and make it look like you have fancy planters high up. But don't let my ideas here limit your imagination. You could even combine these details into a busier, more chaotic wall design, or even use less to simplify things. Now, how about we cover this top floor with spruce planks so that we can get started inside. Not gonna lie, I usually don't build interiors, but I had quite a bit of fun on this one and I think I might just start putting more effort into them in general. I started this interior by dividing it into smaller sections, similar to what we did outside when we were detailing the walls. I then repeated the roof detail from the first level and included a few more arches with stairs and trapdoors. Okay, it would be nice to keep the smaller brick sections simple, allowing us to access the windows. These two areas would also be the perfect place to include scaffolding, which will allow us to get up to the attic. Now things become a bit more simple. You have the option of building a wall on each side to create a room. This is what I opted to do. However, you could also build another arch here to make the design more open plan. All that's important is that you've done something to separate these areas. At the start of the video, I made a promise that you'd be able to store your items in this house. So in one of these rooms, we can line the ceiling with spruce slabs. After that, we can divide the room into two sections with a line of barrels all around the ground for a nice trim. Now comes the fun of including glowstone in the ceiling for light and then spamming as many chests as we could possibly fit in here. And because we used slabs and glowstone, the top chests will still be able to open. All that's left is to add a few details like ladders, ceiling trims, a crafting table and carpet to finish it off nicely. The keen-eared viewers may remember that I also made a promise at the start of the video for an area where you could make strong gear. Well, that's what the second room is for. After building a ceiling design and including a few crafting tables and chests, we can work on the enchanting setup. I'm including a ton of bookshelves here to give us the best chance at the strongest enchantments possible. And if you've been following the theme of this video, you already know we're going to be including a few more details like shelves for books, lanterns and flower pots. We'll also be including a few armor stands to display the OP armor you'll have, as well as a carpet to make it feel more cozy. Okay, we just finished the second level. We built beautifully textured and detailed walls on the outside, but made sure to also include a fair bit of use inside with storage capacity as well as a room with a specific role of strengthening your armor, weapons and tools. So now let's tackle the roof, shall we? The roof all begins with a frame which gives it shape. The frame is made up from a pattern which works diagonally. This pattern begins with a slab, then moves into a block, a stair, then 2 blocks, then 3 blocks, 3 blocks, and finishes with 2 blocks. Now you just want to back that up with a spruce column. With the frame now in place, we can fill it in. It's important to keep in mind that you need to build this wall section in line with the gaps in the frame, but behind the spruce column. From there on, we can use spruce trapdoors, stairs and signs to add detail to the frame's supporting structure. It's also important to use spruce fences to connect the different parts of the frame together. Furthermore, we can finish the frame off by building this small detail on top. The keen-eyed viewers may have seen that we have 2 of these sections with this specific width. This is great because it simplifies things. We can just repeat the exact same roof frame from earlier on this side as well. Now keep in mind the next 2 sections are a little bit smaller than the first 2. This means we still follow all of the steps from earlier, we just need to make an adjustment to the frame's pattern. The pattern changes to slab, block, stair, 2 blocks, 3 blocks and 2 blocks. Personally, I'm a fan of this pattern because it allows for 2 different heights in the roof without any unnecessary complications. And I realize this probably goes without saying, but I feel the need to mention it. You repeat this on the other side as well. Now, the next section is where things can become boring if you allow them to. On the other hand, it could also be one of the most fun parts of this build. It's all up to you. As we fill this roof in, we can choose to texture it however we would like it to be. But it's important to do this with a plan in mind. I did this with a rough plan of thinking about how shadows would be cast, using darker blocks at more shaded zones and moving on to lighter blocks for lighter zones. Now, it's quite easy for anyone to see I did not execute well on that at all. Like, I don't know what shadow is casted on here, but that ain't it. Yet it still came out looking really nice. If you wanted to, you could repeat what I'm doing here using the tiled and cobbled deep slate along with the deep slate bricks. Or you could just build the whole roof with deep slate bricks and sprinkle in a few polished deep slate for texture. Or hear me out, you could even go for some sort of a chaotic look using many different types of blocks. And just give it the lore that you were running out of materials and wanted to finish the build with whatever you had. I guess what I'm trying to tell you is that building is up to your imagination. As long as you build something with a plan in mind, you can't really say that you failed as long as you executed on the plan. If your plan was to build something messy and that's how it came out, then you succeeded. If you wanted to build something neater, more refined and nailed it, then well done. Now, as you can probably see, this giant roof looks a bit plain. It feels like it's missing something from the front at least. One way we could fix that and make the build feel more cozy at the same time is to include a few windows for the attic. I decided to go for a 5x5 block frame starting 3 blocks from the left edge and on the level of the stairs. You can follow similar principles from the earlier roof frames, but as far as the pattern goes, I like to keep it simple with stairs and a slab at the top. Now, if you want it to look symmetrical, you could build another one of these on the other side. This is an area which I'd like to leave up to you to decorate and create your own happy little memories with. This video took just about everything out of me to make, and it actually means a lot that you're still watching. If you'd like to help me out, the best thing you can do is leave a comment. Let me know what you think and maybe share this with a friend if you'd like to build it with them. But if you're looking for a project that's a little smaller, check out this tutorial next, and always remember, Jesus loves you.